Hi class, my name is Megan Hayes and I'll be doing my report on Shigella dysenteriae. Etiological agent. Shigella dysenteriae invades intestinal epithelial cells lining both the small and large intestines. They initially invade M cells of the epithelial wall that sit on top of a Peyer's patch in the small intestine. Shigella dysenteriae go on to infect neighboring epithelial cells by escaping and lysing the phagosome within macrophages during phagocytosis. This results in the death of the macrophage. The reservoir of Shigella dysenteriae. Humans are the primary reservoir of Shigella dysenteriae. It is found in the feces and intestinal tract of infected individuals. It has also been found in the intestinal tracts of monkeys and apes. Water contaminated by infected individual also acts as a reservoir. The morphology and features of Shigella dysenteriae. This bacterium is a gram-negative bacillus. It is non-motile. It is a facultative anaerobe, non-spore-forming, non-capsulated, and averaging around 2 to 4 micrometers long by 0.5 micrometers wide. Virulence factors and mechanisms of infection. So the entire Shigella species has the type 3 secretion system that I've displayed for you guys over on the right. So this needle-like protein appendage helps the bacteria inject effector proteins. It also helps them poke pores and holes in cell membranes. So essentially this is how they get into those M cells that we talked about earlier and how they escape phagocytosis. Shigella dysenteriae is actually the only strain to have the Shiga toxin, and as we know that inactivates the eukaryotic ribosome. This bacteria is also acid tolerable, so that's how they get through our stomach into the colon. Actin-mediated motility means that they utilize actin from the host to propel themselves through the cytosol. Invasion plasmid antigens, it also helps them get into M cells. Disease. Shigella dysenteriae causes shigellosis, also known as bacillary dysentery. This disease is transmitted primarily by the fecal-oral routes. It is super infectious and easily transmitted, as it only requires about 10 to 100 microbes to cause disease, which is not a lot. Shigellosis infects around 188 million people a year worldwide. This is very common in young children as well. Shigella dysenteriae is not too common in the United States, but it is considered one of the most deadly and virulent strains of the Shigella genus. It does have a significant mortality rate in other developing countries and has also been an endemic at points. Signs and symptoms. Symptoms of this disease include abdominal cramping, malaise, dehydration, prostration, and the constant urge to release stool. Signs of this disease include fever, severe dysentery, which means bloody diarrhea or mucus, vomiting, weight loss. Symptoms typically begin anywhere between 24 to 48 hours after coming in contact with the microorganism. Transmission. This disease can be transmitted via direct contact transmission, also known as person-to-person contact. So this involves touching the infected individual directly. Recent studies have also found males who have sex with males can also get this disease through sexual activity. This disease can also be transmitted via vehicle transmission. So that includes contaminated water, either drinking or recreational, like we saw in Lab 12. And also this includes contaminated foods. This disease can be transmitted via indirect contact transmission, which includes contaminated surfaces, clothes, linens, and other inanimate objects. And lastly, this disease can be transmitted through flies, known as mechanical transmission. So the fly lands, say, in the feces and then lands on your food, then you now have the disease. Lab diagnosis. So some ways you can find out if you have this disease is through a stool analysis, rectal swabs for cultures. They have developed rapid diagnostic tests at the Pasteur Institute in France, which is pretty cool. Biochemical tests, such as the ones that we saw in our last two labs, the TSI is commonly used. Complete blood count is going to tell you if you're decreased in white blood cells. And the sigmoidoscopic examination, ELISA and PCR, they're more so for studies because they may be a little too complicated for regular use, but they are helpful. Treatment. Most cases are said to resolve on their own. However, the more severe ones require antibiotics. Right now, the top two are ciprofloxacin and azithromycin for the species, and these two will shorten diarrhea and fever symptoms within about 2 days. They recommend that you drink water and electrolyte drinks like Pedialyte and Gatorade, but this is a very resistant species and they have found multi-drug resistant strains. Prevention. So some ways you can prevent contracting Shigella dysenteriae is to frequently wash your hands, use hand sanitizers, frequently clean the surfaces around you, especially diaper stations and the bathrooms in your home. Avoid swimming pools if your child swallows water. Dispose of dirty diapers properly. Use protection during sex. And ensure the places that you eat at or you get your food from are up to code and have the official A grade little plaque on their door. Immunity. So unfortunately, there is no current vaccine for the Shigella dysenteriae serotype, but the FDA is in fact in the works of developing a live oral vaccine against the Shigella dysenteriae serotype, and that is of 2019. In some cases, immunity may result after one has contracted this disease, and we know that is natural immunity. And those are my references. And here's my multiple choice questions. Okay, number 1. Shigella dysenteriae is the most common Shigella strain in the US. A, is it true? B, is it false? C, all strains are common in the US. Number 2. What does Shigella dysenteriae infect? A, the eyes, B, the lungs, or C, the intestines? Okay, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate your attention, and good luck on your final exams, guys.